Hello, my name is Christine and I run a vintage shop called Prima Treasures on Etsy. Today I wanted to talk about the idea of gifting vintage items. And I feel like there's a certain amount of trepidation that goes with that because essentially vintage is used and people tend to be reluctant to give something that's used as a gift. So I wanted to point out a few ways that you could you know, use vintage to offer a gift to somebody that you know without it feeling like, you just grabbed something out of your closet, wrapped it, and handed it over. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about, and I have a couple examples right here, is the people in your life that you know, usually you know a little something about them. And one of the things that you would typically know is the kinds of things they're interested in. So, easy examples that would be someone who loves dogs or cats, and the examples I have here are bunny rabbits. So, I like bunny rabbits, I think they're cute. So, I have a couple of pieces here that I got for myself, but they're both vintage. And if I knew someone else who liked bunny rabbits and I happened to come across, let's say, this piece right here, which is very colorful and very cute. Also, it's just like a little trinket box, so it does have some functionality to it. And then I also got this glass bunny, which the top comes off and it's a little candy dish. So it's cute, it's decorative, it also has functionality to it. So these are the kinds of things that you could give that, they're not big and impressive, but they're small and fun and they directly tie into an interest that you know the person has. So I feel like if you're giving in a category that matches something they're already interested in, that gives you a little more leeway to kind of play around and go, let's say, in this direction here, where you just found a cute trinket box of some kind that matches one of their interests. And that way you can give that as a gift. And I don't think that that would be seen as inappropriate. So that's one of the things that you can do to kind of incorporate vintage into your gift giving is to just tie into one of their interests. And then another option I wanted to talk about is the nostalgia factor. So I have a couple of things I want to show, and this is certainly something that you can only cover in terms of vintage. So what I have here, and hopefully you can see, let me push it back a bit so the camera catches it. I'm just not sure it's completely in there. You know what? Let's just lay it on its side. This is a little easier to see. There we go. So, um, you know, millennials have their whole Pokemon thing that they were into for a long time. When I was a kid, I was really into Snoopy and Woodstock and the whole Peanuts thing. And my husband knows this. So he actually found this really cute Snoopy. It's actually a giant Pez dispenser. I don't know what candies you would actually put in there. But, it's very cute and figural and it makes a nice display. So this is the kind of thing that you could also do. If you know somebody who's a little older, I mean, even millennials count because Pokemon is still widely available, but you could find older Pokemon, say collectibles or toys from, the earlier generation of those products and give that as a gift to somebody that you know was a huge Pokemon fan. And again, since you're tying into an interest that they already had, it kind of gives you that more wiggle room to go back in time and give a nostalgia based gift is how I would put that. And nostalgia is big for most people who have already kind of moved on from that particular generation in which they were growing up and they were getting toys. And then the other thing I wanted to show is this piece here. Let's see. I'll put it on its side. So there. Nope. I'm gonna stand up. Maybe. So this is an older electronic game system from way back in the day that I had when I was growing up. And the games are pretty basic, number games and word games, things like that. Actually, I think it's mostly number games. But when we're kids, we lose track of stuff that we had. So for me, I had a lot of memories of just spending hours playing games on this thing. And so I actually went on eBay and I just tracked down another one because I don't know where mine went. I was a kid. And the thing I really like about this piece is that when I got it, it came with the book and the box. So I've got all the goodies to relive those memories if I really felt so inclined. But I think most people, when they buy something like that, they just kind of want you to use it as a prop in their office. They're not necessarily looking to actually go back and relive those times. But, if you have friends that had certain uh, interests when they were a kid or stuff that they played with. There's tons of people who played with Barbies and stuff like that. So going and finding like an older original version of something that they probably has as a child is a way to offer a gift that again kind of hits that nostalgia angle. And also it's, clearly a vintage item because, they don't make a lot of those things anymore. So that's two different ways that you could go into vintage. And then my third, which I don't really have any good examples of older products, but along the nostalgia lines, I'm going to point out that in recent years, we've had fads like the Funko Pop and the fidget spinner, and they had similar fads in previous generations. Let's say Pogs for the millennials, or Pet Rocks for kids from the 80s and stuff like that. So if you want to do something that has that nostalgia feel and goes back into the vintage stuff, you don't, even if you don't know that much about the person, you could just pick like an iconic object from the time when they were a kid and use that as a gift just to give them a laugh or bring back memories of that time. So in that scenario, the only thing you really know about them is roughly how old they were and what decade they grew up in, but you can still use that as a kind of entry point to find a gift that is iconic to that era, and give them that as just as a fun thing, not necessarily a serious collectible, because I'm sure we all know that fidget spinners and pet rocks are not really serious collectibles, but they're good for a laugh and kind of sit around and rehash those memories from those days. So those are a few of the things that you can do if you want to dabble in vintage as far as gifts are concerned. There's a number of ways to do it. The other thing that I didn't grab a prop for this, but it just occurred to me that, if somebody either likes to travel or is really proud of their hometown, you can always find these old souvenirs. Shot glasses were really popular of, when you would go to travel and you would go to little shops at wherever you were vacationing, they would have shot glasses for like every little place you went. So, you could also track down a shot glass from a location that they just really like. Like I said, either their hometown or a vacation that's particularly memorable to them. So there's a lot of ways to do it that won't feel weird. And, I kind of hope that by talking about it and showing some examples, I've given you some ideas of ways that you can leverage vintage gifts into your gift giving ideas. So, one of the things that I would want to end with is just to say, if you don't know a lot about that person, but maybe you're still kind of interested in trying this, one way that you can get some, let's say, dirt on somebody that you're going to try to gift for is to talk to their partner and just ask, what were they into as a kid? What's something that they would, have fun if it came back into their life? So you can always kind of pick other people's brains. If you're wanting to get something for your mom or dad, ask their partner what kinds of things would be a fun nostalgia gift for your recipient. So anyway, I really hope that this has sparked ideas for you, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.